What's up, War Report family? It is your boy C Dub. Guys, what is going to happen with this QB room and how is it going to pan out? Do we get a transfer and do we get a certain transfer from Coastal Carolina? We'll talk about that and more in the latest edition of the Midweek Report. Happy Wednesday, War Report family, Auburn fans. We want to shout out two groups, our Facebook group who's watching us. Welcome, everyone, as well as those of you who are on YouTube hanging out with us. We welcome you to the latest and greatest midweek report, courtesy of Auburn Sports. Shout out to JG Tate and those guys. One of the best ways you can support us is to support our sponsors. So please head over there and show them love. Shout out to those guys for doing what they do. Also, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Wednesday again. Do us a favor and share this content. We have a great conversation lined up for you guys. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now, for access to some content that's going to be dropping tomorrow, Ike?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exclusive. How do you get that, sir?
Hey, you got to be a member. If you're not a member, you're not going to be able to be a part of it. Tomorrow we launch into film, man. So I saw, shout out to our guy Cole Kubelik, right? So he posted, he's been doing all these spring training, spring game evaluations, and somebody on his Twitter was like, basically, spring games are useless. And on his post, and he was like, but you can still learn a lot. And he is 100% correct. You can still learn a lot, even though you're not going to know a bunch of scheme stuff, or there's going to be a bunch of players who might not even be on your team later. You can learn a lot from the spring game if you know what you're looking for. So come holler at your boy, man. We're going to take a look at this film, but you got to be a member to take a look at that. The live stream will be going down tomorrow. So make sure you got your notifications on for those of you who are members. If you're a member right now and you want to gift a membership, you can do that. YouTube will randomly give these to someone else who is a part of the War Report community. And we appreciate those of you who continue to gift memberships. It's a way that you show love to us and the people here in the chat. Make sure you show somebody some love. In honor of the transfer portal season, giving away a He Gone t-shirt right now, courtesy of War Eagle Oil. Hashtag get your weight up. Now, you have to be present to win this. So if you go away and we call your name, I don't know what to tell you, but hashtag get your weight up in the chat and we can get you your t-shirt. Make sure you're here.
Gentlemen, how are we doing this midweek? Y'all good?
It's midweek.
Yeah, midweek. All right. Midweek. All right. I see the enthusiasm. Let's get into it. More portal news. No one's coming in just yet. Auburn has definitely made contact with a few guys who've entered the portal. We've discussed some of those names throughout our morning drops and the previous weekend tailgate. But we did have a player enter the portal that was announced today, and that's Powell Gordon. Now, who's not pictured here is Cameron Brown. He also left during the middle of spring. We can perhaps update him the next time you see this graphic as well. It's really a total of 5 players. Joining him is Jeffrey Imba, Tavares Dawson, Desmond Tisdall, and Powell Gordon.
There was an offensive lineman too that he just wasn't on the roster after like 1 week of spring.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I forgot who it was that left in the mid, right as spring was starting.
Now. Yeah, I think I know who you guys are talking about. So yeah, we will update this to make sure we include those guys moving forward. We're just keeping a running tally of the guys who have left the program And hopefully we can do a graphic of the guys coming in. But
Right.
until that happens, we'll just talk about this. Powell Gordon seemed like a tweener. Of
Yeah.
course, he was a Harsin recruit. He was a guy that they liked him out of Auburn. They, wanted to keep it local. Also was a pipeline to Auburn high as well. But he was a tweener, right? He really had difficulty finding a position to really fit in. We've heard him being talked about being moved to edge, which I could also mention wasn't exactly an ideal fit for him either. When you look at the guys who are already at that position and their size. So he was kind of undersized regardless of where they was trying to put him. And I think he began to see the writing on the wall as though he would not be in the rotational too deep. He departs. Didn't know if we had much thoughts on that. I'll start with you, B. Will, if you have any.
Not too many thoughts. I think I'm going to have the same feeling about guys who commit to Auburn out of high school, and that's I want them to get their shot here. The coaches are looking at these guys. They know what it takes to play at this level, to be good at the position. The position group coaches hopefully have a good idea whether or not these guys can cut it just from their practice. And so we aren't losing guys who can contribute and never get the chance. I think that's your worst case scenario. You bring guys in, you recruit them, they commit to your school, and they never get a shot to see the field. Now, in this situation, of course, this happens a lot. Powell Gordon committed to Brian Harsin and company. That's not who's here anymore. He's not coaching under the linebacker coach who he first saw, the head coach who brought him in and made him the offer. None of that's the same. Now, we've seen Hugh Freeze be, I don't know if dismissive is the right word, but not impressed with certain position groups and the talent in those groups. So he doesn't say, man, these guys stink. But what he does say is, yeah, we need some more of this position. And as Ike pointed to a while back, I mean, what are you supposed to think if you're in that room? Oh, so we need more of my position. All right, I'm borderline throwing up in practice, but we need more of me? Cool. Let me get out of here. And I can't help but sympathize under those circumstances. It may be absolutely true that there is a talent gap that Hugh Freeze is looking to fill. And the way you do that is by pushing guys, bringing guys in on top, and that pushes out the guys that are on the bottom of that totem pole. Yes, that's how it goes sometimes. I still just want guys to get on the field. I think last year, towards the end of the season, who was it that got on the field? Didn't Lester Barton get on the field at linebacker?
Or Barton Lester, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Lester, Barton. that's not what I meant. But I just want guys to get a shot because they chose to be here. I understand that's not the business that we're in. The business of college football is best man on the field. If I don't think you can cut it based on what I see, I'm finding somebody else. With all due respect, young man, thank you for your contribution. Here are your metaphorical walking papers. I know that's part of the business. I know it. But they have a task. Hugh Freeze has a task in front of him, and I think he knows he needs more talent than he's got. So if this is one of those casualties, then, God bless the young man. I hope he finds somewhere where he can get on the field to show what type of player he is.
Mike, thoughts on this?
I mean, it was expected from me. If he was one of the guys who, I'm gonna stop naming names, because when I name people's names that I think are gonna hit the portal, even if I'm right, people try to act like I'm hating on some kids. So I'm not gonna give you any predictions, because nobody asked me for that. But he was one of the people who, if I were to have made a list of guys who I think would potentially leave, he was definitely on that list. Not because I didn't think he had a ton of talent. I think he is a guy who could potentially make plays in the SEC. But he is, as you said, a tweener, right? Like, where do you really fit him in? And the unfortunate reality of how evaluations happen for most people is it's mostly based on what your body type is, where they want to put you. That's why JJ Pegues on nobody's roster is a tight end / fullback, right? Even though he has the skills to do it, his body type, people are like, I see him and I see defensive lineman, right? Instead of trying to figure out, but those same people would have said Cam Newton's too big to play quarterback. Those same people would have said that Lamar Jackson should have been a wide receiver. There's a lot of things that we can evaluate based upon how somebody looks and the makeup of their athleticism and say, you might be okay at this, but you fit the profile of this. Powell Gordon happens to fit the profile of a guy who looks like he should play in some league that's not the SEC.
Right.
But you know what? You know who else fit in that profile? I'm not saying he's as good as him. Jacoby McClain. Yeah. Jacoby McClain was an undersized guy playing middle linebacker, but did a hell of a job. Yeah. I just think that a lot of times evaluations happen because of what people's measurables are, especially when you're trying to make quick and snap evaluations like this staff is having to do in a truncated time period. And so you're not always given the benefit of the doubt of what your ability to go and make plays is. It's, well, do you fit the mold of what we see? And can you do from a physical standpoint the things we're asking you to do, hold up, play in and play out? They didn't feel like he fit that mold, and they have guys who do. He gets pushed down the depth chart. That young man says, hey, man, I can go play somewhere else. And best of luck to him.
Mike?
Yeah. This just wasn't unexpected, right? And so attrition, they added linebackers. I expected some to leave after the spring. And, hopefully he finds a good home somewhere. So we're going to see more of this from Brian Harson's guys, definitely in the coming weeks until the portal closes. Again, we wish him well. But this was not expected, and there was no on-field production really that was lost in this exit. So good for him. I hope he lands somewhere great.
Indeed. And I pretty much agree with a lot of the sentiments you guys added there. Let's move on. We got a lot to talk about as it pertains to the quarterback situation. That's going to come in the next segment. But let's talk real quick about basketball. Ike, you and Mike kind of discussed this with Johni Broome. Mm-hmm. B. Will, I know you have thoughts on this, so I definitely want to start with you first. Johni Broome, for all we know, is getting an evaluation, dipping his toe in the NBA waters just to see, hey, how's it looking? Do they like me? Should I go? But I thought it was weird. It's his IG. The type of the way he announced it just seemed like I'm gone. It just had that vibe to it. So I'm asking you, B, is Johni Broome gone? Is he gone?
I don't think Johni Broome is gone. I don't think Johni Broome is gone because if you look at who gets drafted year after year, if they aren't stellar college basketball producers, if they are not stellar producers, they are guys who have incredible upside in the physical department, measurables out this world. I thought that was his name. He was a 5-star recruit for Bama last year, J.D. Davison. I thought he was an incredibly disappointing 5-star recruit in college. And I thought that there's no way he gets drafted because he didn't do anything. He was literally out there taking up space. They could have put a mannequin on with a jersey on him and thrown that mannequin at the ball a couple times and produced what J.D. Davison produced. And then somebody was like, no, he'll get drafted. I was like, how? I thought a Scottie Pippen Jr. was a guarantee to get drafted. Why? Because he produced. Turns out J.D. Davison got drafted. Now, he got stashed on their G League team, Boston, but it's because he has stupid measurables. He's athletic. He's the right size. He can jump. The rest, these pros are like, yeah, we'll figure the rest out. If you have the measurables, please come here. I'll take a chance on you. JT Thor, he was nowhere near ready as a finished college product, but the measurables, length, leaping ability, and he can shoot. What else do you need to see as a pro? They're like, hey, we'll figure out the rest. He's got enough of what we need, and we'll figure out the rest. Johni doesn't have speed. He doesn't have great ball handling. He doesn't have leaping ability. So my question was, well, he did have a good production year. He produced well enough.
Did you just say he sucks?
No, these are measurables.
Yeah,
you know who else didn't have that stuff? Tim Duncan.
All right.
Tim Duncan didn't have that stuff. He was the greatest 4-5 combo player I've ever seen in my life. Still a top 5 player in my eyes. He don't get his due because he's not. He just that wasn't his game. Yes.
Top 5.
Top 5. The big boring. The big
boring.
boring.
On Twitter.
I don't care. I said to me.
Well, they're gonna put together a compilation on you, bro.
Hey man, listen. Who else got 5
That's
ships
going on-
in the modern era?
It's going on the Twitter.
You got 5.
Wait,
Wait,
playlist.
they did
Top
win 5, didn't
huh?
they? Yeah, Tim Duncan's top 5 to me every time.
Say it with your chest though, if you really believe it.
Oh, no, that's easy. Like I don't even talk about that. But anyway,
The big boring.
the big boring.
Top 5.
He couldn't do those things either, but what he could do for his position was unquestionable. He could block shots, which Johni Broome can block shots. Not at the clip. When you think about productive blocking shots, Walker Kessler's shot blocking translates to the NBA because he was still tall and he still had a lot of length being that height, like his wingspan was incredible. I don't think Johni Broome's, I want to say maybe he was 2-3 blocks a game. I don't think that translates to the NBA because, man, the 3 on the other team is as tall as Johni Broome is. Like he is a 4 playing a 5 in college, and his game is very much a 5, but that's only going to be good in college. If your back has to be to the basket to score, you're not going to get away with that at 6'8", 6'9" in the NBA. You're just not. So if you don't have the measurables to be able to very quickly get around guys with the dribble or to leap up and get yourself some buckets, that game doesn't translate to the NBA. So I was wondering, I'm like, where did this come from? And why did it come, I don't know, a week and a half after everybody started jumping in the portal? Did somebody get in his ear? Did agents go, hey, no, you can make something out of this. Let's go ahead and get you evaluated so we can see where you can fall. Because at the rate that guys are being drafted and being productive when they leave Auburn, my thought would be, and Mike said this morning, NIL should be enough to hold you over while you actually get developed at this level. So whatever you can be with the measurables you have, you can be the best version of that. And they'll work on adding something to your game in the offseason. No, I get it. You can do that by yourself, right? You're going to get an agent. You're going to sign up. Let's say you sign up with a G League team. You sign up with the international team. Okay, you're going to go there and develop too. Yeah, but would you fly halfway across the world and play in a gym that's 20 degrees below zero just to work on your jump outside shot? You can do that here. What is the impetus for changing your location if the focus is developed? Unless he really thinks he has a shot to get drafted. Because again, I saw bums
not having to go to class. Like y'all be skipping over the part where y'all forget these dudes don't actually like school.
I am not disagreeing with you. As somebody who did not like school, I completely understand. Even if we know that all you got to do is go do some bare minimums on homework, get your tutor to sit down with you, and I get it. It's a chore. But respectfully, it's not like they really got to go hard on school. And that's all I'm going to say about that. They ain't really got to go hard on school. I agree with you to that extent, Ike. It's a nuisance at the very least to have to keep up the student requirements of being a student athlete. Yes, I understand that. But I feel like the table is set for them here. And I guess that's the biggest thing. Right here, right now, I think, man, Johni Broome was probably one of the pieces that I most expected to stay put because it's like, hey, you're our only inside present scoring. Like it. In the paint, scoring, you are it, buddy. Like we got an outside shooter in Denver Jones. We got a crazy great shooter coming in, Aiden Holloway. Now you should eat even better because we got shooters all over the place. So not only could you continue to develop your inside game, your outside game, now people are going to have to guard you down low, and you can pull bigs out the paint because we got a guard that's going to drive because Aiden Holloway actually is a very good ball handler. Shooters all over the place. They got to spread out. Man, I don't get how it wasn't a great situation. Can you say that's going to be the case for the G League team that you went to or for the Russian team, the Turkish team, or whoever you were looking at across seas? I don't know that there was a better situation for him there unless he really thinks he can get drafted. And again, based on the history of who's getting drafted year after year, even if they don't make the NBA roster, they have a certain thing in common, and that is athleticism, and he's lacking in that department. So this puzzled me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying as far as his athleticism. I actually also agree about what his pro prospects would be for getting drafted. I just don't think it is as cut and dry as people are making. Oh, he's coming back. you don't know what that young man's motivation. And I think that people just making it a foregone conclusion that he's going to come back is setting yourself up for disappointment. If he's like, I'm gonna just go get this. Yeah, I can get some NIL money, but I can also go over here and get this bag overseas and be fine.
Right.
Yeah. Again, you say he doesn't have his athleticism, but this gives me JT Thor vibes, though. It does. It gives me, because I thought JT Thor should have stayed put, and he went and got drafted in the second round.
Yeah.
And it could happen. Who knows? But I'm not. It's not a foregone conclusion that he's staying. I just don't. I think he's willing to bet on himself and go pro somehow. So.
And
Mike,
and again, I'm not saying that he's not coming back. I'm not one of those people like, man, but I'm saying this is not as a sure. Everybody's like, oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. Okay. If he don't come back,
I didn't brush this off. Like he kind of said,
I've been wrong before. Goodbye. It's all good.
He kind of said goodbye in a way, just to tell us he's testing the waters. Like, I don't know, Mike. What's your thoughts, man?
I hope he's getting good advice.
Same here.
Yeah, I really hope he's getting good advice. This is, there's no wrong with betting on yourself, but I hope he's getting good advice. So if he decides to go and he gets taken in the second round, that was probably a good decision for him. But sometimes you need somebody to tell you that you are a 6 and then glow up on them. So I'm not sure he's.
But see, again, why I still this is where nobody who I've had this conversation with can tell me him being a 6 doesn't mean he can't go overseas and be an 8.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not saying that. Like I said, and if he does that, I hope that's a good decision. I hope that path gets him where he needs to be. It doesn't always work out. So
staying in college doesn't always work out, though.
Sure.
Staying an extra year does not guarantee him a damn thing.
Does NIL play a factor here?
It should, right? And I had the thought there. I was like, maybe this man is leveraging a bag right now with this talk, because that statement was very, just so you know, I'm testing the waters. I'm maintaining my eligibility, guys, but I'm gonna go see what the other side has to offer. So, we don't know what these kids' family situations are. Like, we don't know what his personal financial situation is. I think that a lot of people assume players' money is just flying around to everybody who plays basketball and football, and that's not really the case. It's still only a few really getting big time money, and I don't know what his deals look like, but really it only matters to him what his deals look like. So he'll compare that potential money to the G League or overseas, and
maybe he tired of hooping in Under Armour shoes, bro.
Right.
Hey, let B Mac tell it.
All right. Yeah, listen, I was in Foot Locker the other day, and I was just like, man, I ain't got Under Armour nothing in here. Like it's like the selection is so bland. It's either black or white, and maybe a gray Under Armour shoe, and like nothing. I was like, man, we got no orange and blues in here or something.
You really went looking for Under Armour, bro?
Listen, bro, I had an Under Armour fit. I want some Under Armour shoes.
Okay. To be fair, a lot of shoes have moved out of retail just because retail is dying. So that's part of it.
But if there are shoes in there, why can't there be some Under Armour? Is the point.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, ain't nobody buying our shoes. We ain't finna pay to send them to the store.
I bought these quick segue. I bought these black and white Nikes.
Just so they can come back.
All right. I bought these black and white Nikes, and this kid walks up to me. And he was like, "Those are nice shoes, man." The boy got the LeBrons on. I was like, "These are LeBrons?" I had no clue.
And that's when I realized I was old.
Under Armour. Anyway, so like I said, just rounding out the discussion, I don't know whether only he can know, what's best for him, what he thinks is best for him. Sounds like the coach is behind him, but I make no mistake, Bruce Pearl is hoping he comes back.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
When a player should definitely go, he'll just come out and say it. And
for sure.
He made a very neutral statement on Twitter. He was like, listen, make no mistake, he'll play in the NBA one day. And if he doesn't, and silently he's saying, and I hope he comes back. Right. He'll be a problem for the entire SEC next year.
Yeah.
So, I know what Bruce's preference is. Come back, because turning over this talent year over year can't be, it's not the funnest thing about coaching.
Yeah. Right.
So,
oh, we will definitely keep an eye out to see how that turns out. We had 2 guys test the waters last year, and they came back. So we'll just see what happens here, and we'll keep you guys posted. Let's grab some comments before we get to the break. Corey Weber says, did Mike G really say on Locked On Grayson wouldn't start at AU? Mike G?
No.
Did you say that?
I want you to address that. We're going to talk about that.
No.
We're going to talk about that. He's already telling you that's not what he said, but he will elaborate after the break. All right? Brad Browning says, why is the Grayson McCall talk still going on? More on that later.
There's some smoke there.
Hot Dog Water says, my question is, if we get 2 offensive linemen, meaning the 2 guys that we've already offered, do we lose Jeremiah Wright?
Are they inside?
One of them
has played
inside.
right tackle. He's projected to play. I think that's the guy from Tulsa, right?
Yep.
The other one is a guard. So
I start Jeremiah Wright over anybody here.
I mean, I haven't seen either of these guys' tapes, so I don't know if they'd be better than Jeremiah Wright. I don't think it's a given that we would lose Jeremiah Wright just because we brought in some guys as depth pieces, because you have to think about, even though we have a team full of guards, the only guys, Tate Johnson's been getting a lot of praise, and then you've got Cam Stutz that's in there as a guard who has had playing time and has played up and down as far as his productivity is concerned. You bring in 2 other guys that are compete interior. You've got a freshman in Connor Liu, a freshman in Braden Joyner, right? I just don't know that any of those guys beat out Jeremiah Wright, or he's not immediately in the 2 deep. And I guess it would depend on how early they bring him in, and he evaluates himself next to those guys as to whether or not he's like, I can't, I'm not going to beat out either of these. In my mind, no, it's not a given that we lose him, but it's possible, right? He might decide, hey, I want to go somewhere else. But this is another thing, and I don't like saying stuff like this. He does seem to be a little injury prone.
Him and Tate Johnson.
Right. So like you need the insurance policy of somebody else who can come in case Jeremiah can't make it through an entirety of a season, because we haven't seen him do that yet.
100%. I agree with that, Ike.
Plus, isn't the Tulsa guy's a redshirt freshman, right? He didn't even play last year.
Yeah, he got hurt he played a couple of games and then got hurt.
So he would be a depth thing. I don't think you necessarily, I mean, just if you spent your whole first year or most of it hurt, then are you going to be as strong as a Jeremiah Wright? I don't know. He might not be ready. It might just be, a depth piece for the future.
We'll see. We will definitely see. Grab some more comments here, guys. Let's see here. James Sawyer says it was Avery Jernigan. Who's the guy who entered the portal or left the team there. So appreciate that. Appreciate that, James. Corey Weber says, switching gears, are we really talking about Bounce Man coming back to AU? Dude is a walking airball.
You know what? What's funny? I watched. I was reading somebody. I want to give credit where it's due. I want to say it was Justin Hokinson's material about the possibility of Devin Cambridge coming back, and he was outlining his freshman and sophomore 3-point percentage and how the last 2 years it just nosedived. I'm like, that's curious, because what in the hell happened? Like, he was shooting 30s and then it dropped to like 20-something% the last year. I don't know what happened to that. It's something. That boy could dunk though.
He played well at Arizona State, and so people are excited about maybe he could bring that back and translate his ability to shoot. I say well, he was in the mid-30s there. So
hey, that's good.
Yeah,
we could use mid-30s. Philip Coleman says Tim Duncan is in my top 5 too. Be Will.
That's right.
Be Will. Who's the other 4? Who's the other 4?
I can't. I don't know if I can go there, dog.
I mean, Jordan's number 1.
Okay, that's good.
Undoubtedly, unquestioned.
Okay.
LeBron James is top 5.
That's 3.
It's hard for me not to put Kareem in there.
There's an obvious one that you're
obvious to.
Oh, wait. Okay. So wait a minute. Continue. You say it's hard to not put Kareem in there. I'm with you so far. On the three that you've mentioned, minus Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan's in there, and I don't know who the fifth one go to. I have to mull it over.
So Tim Duncan's in your top 4?
5.
No, I'm just saying you said first. So you're not sure
not in
who's
order.
above Duncan, but somebody else is.
I'm saying there's one person who's in that mix. Mike is number 1, and that's all I know. Everybody else is can be shuffled, in my opinion.
Okay.
I had to think about that 5th spot, but those to me, those
I'm assuming the guy that you're saying he's missing right now, is young Bean. Is it not Kobe Bean?
See, there's plenty of debate. We'll do this one day.
He's ahead of Duncan, but no.
Okay. Who do you have up there?
Magic.
Oh, I don't know if I put Magic in my top 5 either.
I'm putting Magic in there. Putting Magic in there.
Oh no.
I'm putting Magic in there.
And for the record, big Chicago Bulls fan, Magic Johnson's my favorite player of all time. My favorite player. He's not top 5, but he's my favorite.
Okay. You're talking 5s, man. Top 5 is, and again, top 10 is legendary. Top 5 is, so this is no.
I probably would have Duncan in my top 10. I need to think about that.
He's probably in my top 10.
Who else is winning Defensive Player of the Year and MVP and Finals MVPs and 5 rings? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Greatness. No undoubted greatness.
Nothing, Mike. Gotcha.
No,
you getting some love here, B, because Stuart Donald says I'm with B Will on Duncan easily.
I don't know. I just don't know about easily, man.
I don't know about
anchored 5 championship teams.
He did.
How was the reason for them?
I would put Kobe above him. I'm sorry.
I'm not even disagreeing with that. I think it's very close.
Kobe wasn't ever close.
He wasn't the defensive value that Tim Duncan was.
What? Kobe wasn't
on the perimeter, yes, but who could block interior and defend bigs?
They play 2 different positions. Who cares?
Yeah, B. I mean, it's
the
not
value of a Duncan.
How many guards is Tim Duncan shutting down? If we want to use that as a comparative analysis.
This is a.
I don't know.
Listen, when it's the middle of June and we have literally nothing to talk about, let's address this thing. All right.
All right.
Andrew Ackerman says, besides shoes, I like Under Armour.
Yeah. So we've had this conversation with athletes and coaches. People are only thinking about the major sports when they make comments like this, because Under Armour does not do a great job of servicing our Olympic sports.
Nope.
And you have to think about a company that has the breadth of athletic support, for everybody who needs it in the entirety of your pantheon of sports out there. Under Armour doesn't do a great job in all of those things, even to the point we had this conversation. I won't say who specifically, but just they were having an issue with Under Armour not giving them alternate uniforms. Right? Like they just wouldn't do it. They wouldn't ever create them for their program. And it was just like, you have to be able to do that. So, but it's weird because they'll trot out a new gymnastics thing every, meet. But I don't know, man. You just got to be able to service everybody. Under Armour has not as of yet done a great job. We are one of the bigger programs in their catalog. Right. But I don't know, man. I just think you have to go with a team for football. I think they're pretty good. They're pretty good for football. Basketball, baseball, soccer. Yeah, I think they probably do pretty good for soccer. But like, do we have a big soccer program? Tennis, right? Like you got to think about more than just the major sports, man. And then when you think about basketball, which is a big sport for Auburn, they're not great at basketball stuff. They're just okay. And no kid is out here like, man, I can't wait to rock them Steph Currys in the next game. No, and as much as that doesn't matter to you, 17, 18, 19-year-old matters a lot.
You would definitely get a what are those rocking Under Armours.
Yeah.
They would definitely joke on you.
And it's not about how comfortable they are. Like, they're really comfortable shooting. They not orthopedic shoes, bro. Like nobody cares. They trying to look good.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. At Pro Day, the players had on like some Under Armour Pro Day shorts, and I was like, it was the same shorts I got. They just slapped Pro Day on it, and I thought they might get some like custom stuff for Pro Day or like anything custom. Nope, it was like somebody got some Under Armour shorts from the store, ironed on the logo, and it was like
done.
Yay!
I mean, Under Armour has a lot of work that they need to do because, when you look at like the stuff that they send athletes when they're in the league and they get them in their locker and they're like nobody is proud to open up their Under Armour box in their locker room, bro. It's just not a thing. Like, come on. Yeah. And that is a recruiting tool. That's a thing that makes you feel, because that doesn't just reflect on Under Armour. That reflects on Auburn. Because that box came from Auburn. It has your Auburn, like, oh, congratulations, Walker Kessler. Here's this Under Armour shirt.
Wasn't there like some tinfoil hat that the reason we weren't getting some 5 stars because the McDonald's All-American game wouldn't give invites to kids who were committed to non-Nike schools? Like a thing. I think I remember seeing some.
I think that was.
I'm not giving credence to it, but
I heard. I don't know if it's any truth to it that Phil Knight did have an issue with people hyping up kids that were committed to non-Nike schools.
Definitely we'll talk about that more. Otis Smith says Grayson brings that bad boy style, and I like it. We'll talk about that after the break.
Bad boy style? Like, is he
back by Diddy? Or I don't know.
He's got a mullet. He's got a mullet, right?
He's got a mullet, but I didn't know that in and of itself made you. Right. John Brandon says, have y'all heard Caesar's Superman Clark Kent analogy on his other podcasts?
Yes. Listen,
it actually was amazing.
I was a proud friend. So a random homeboy of mine was like, hey dog, you got to check out this clip. And he sends it to me. And I turn it on and it's this motherfucker. Right? and I look at Caesar out here going viral. That thing went so viral. Some random people. And he was like, somebody we have completely no connection to, send it to him. And he sent it to me like, I don't talk to this dude 4 times a week. I was like, man, I heard that 5 years ago when he made it up. I didn't, but I was flexing on him.
I gotta go back and hear it now.
Nah, it was good. It was good.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. Appreciate that, John, for checking that out. Listen, guys, you are watching the midweek report. At this point, we will say goodbye to our Facebook guys and gals. If you're watching, if you want to continue, because the show will continue, please head on over to YouTube, where the party continues and the conversation really picks up about these quarterbacks. Until then, guys, share this content. Share this. All right. Good conversations here. Smash the like button and hit subscribe if you just found us. Welcome, by the way. Let's pause to acknowledge our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit WarEagleOil.com.
As always, big thank you to the sponsors of the War Report. Thank you to those of you who have continued to be members of the War Report community here on YouTube. We appreciate you guys so much. If you want to join and get some of this film review that's coming up tomorrow, you got to be a member. Make sure you go ahead and get in there. Get your notifications set, because I could go live at any time dropping this good watch the film content that's coming to you all tomorrow. If you want to gift a membership to someone, make sure you go ahead and do that now from the live chat. YouTube will randomly assign these to somebody in the live chat that is here and available to accept them. So make sure that you are ready to receive in case somebody wants to send you a blessing of a War Report membership tonight. We're going to give away stuff as always. Hashtag get your weight up right now in the live chat. You got to be present to win. Make sure you are ready for that activity. But hashtag get your weight up. and we'll do the drawing here around the 1 hour mark, giving away a He Gone t-shirt sponsored by War Eagle Oil. We're on podcast. If you guys didn't know, head over to the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report, to hear some audio only stuff. We need to continue that Under Armour conversation. Mike, have y'all talked about that over on Mike Mack and Memes?
We have not, but we will.
Yeah, that sounds like a good Mike Mack and Memes conversation. I'm going to try to talk to my guys on the Amen Corner about how they feel about whether or not their school should go over to Under Armour. I think that'll be an interesting one because both Florida and Bama are Nike schools, and I will be interested to hear what my guys have to say over there. But Auburn Express is where you can get that. Check it out wherever you listen to podcasts.
Florida's Jordan.
Jordan,
now,
you're right. They're Jordan.
Florida's Jordan now.
Which is really weird for Jordan to be on some football jerseys like that.
It's weird.
It is weird,
really
but it
weird.
works because the kids like wearing the cleats, man.
It is weird. It is weird, but it works. You're right. You're right on both counts there, guys. Oda Smith comes back. Well, before we get to his, we're gonna close out talking about this. This definitely has to be a topic in the future because people like this conversation. I know I'm a little late on the convo. David Wunderlich, he says, but Steph is top 5. He changed every level of the sport from pros to college to high school to the park in your neighborhood. Everybody is shooting threes now.
You know what? What this does is, well, first of all, there's recency bias, and that's not even discounting what Steph has done, because I think if we were around to witness any of these people we're discussing in their prime, we would all be like, "No, he changed the game," and have a legitimate claim about any of those players changing the game. But I think when we talk from person to person, it's gonna change on what makes anybody top 5. What is it about that player? And there's something about Steph that if you factor it higher, the fact that he's regular guy size doing what he's doing with then that does make it just extremely extra phenomenal. But there's a lot that goes into this, and I'm sure different people will grade it differently, but there's no denying the effect that he's had as a 6. All the other guys we're discussing are like 6'6" and above. And that is phenomenal what Steph can do at 6'2", 6'3".
For sure.
I still don't know if I put him in my top 5 though.
Don't know if I would either, but is he top 10? Is he top 10?
That's debatable for me whether or not Steph. I think
that's the real conversation.
I put him in my top. I will put him in my
I think Steph could be in my top 10. I don't know if I could put him. That top 5 is a difficult thing. One thing I do know is that Tim Duncan's not in it.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem with that. Kobe's not in mine. It's just a game.
Okay. All right. God bless the dead. All right, guys. Oda Smith, referring to Grayson McCall, says he brings the swag and ain't afraid to talk that talk.
I don't know nothing about that man's swag or talk.
We would know more. You know nothing about his swag, Ike?
Nothing about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't watch. I listen, man. I ain't watched Grayson McCall, man. I don't know anything. I don't follow him.
We'll learn social media. If it happens, we'll learn a lot about his personality. If it happens. Legit says, do y'all think McCall is automatic QB1? Thank you guys for everything you do. Love the show. Let's go ahead and talk about this.
Here we go.
Go ahead and talk about this. Now, Mike, you did a show recently with a friend of the show, Zach Blackerby, and you said it's not necessarily a given that he's automatic QB1 the moment he touches down at Auburn.
Yes.
Is that pretty much your point?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is not a take I have a ton of conviction in, right? Like it's yes, if he comes in, I think there's a better than good chance he could win the job. But like a lot of people are like, once he gets it, that's it. It's over. No more competition. I'm not there on Grayson McCall. I'm not there on a guy who's coming in after the spring while they're still putting together a system, and you got guys here who are in a frantic rush to learn it to gain that edge. Because if I'm staying, that's what I'm doing. He's going to have to catch up on the playbook. He's going to have to catch up on the concepts. He's going to have to catch up on a lot after missing the spring here. I think it's tough to come in after the spring and win a job. Now, most people who think that he's QB1 as soon as he steps on campus, those people already have a predisposition to thinking that none of the guys we have can get the job done. That's a lot of people with that. Like, we don't have a QB. We don't have a QB. These aren't Hugh Freeze's guys. Well, he closed out the spring saying, I think I can win with these guys. So if he thinks that, then all I'm saying is I don't think it's 100% that as soon as he steps on campus, he's QB1. That's it, man. I think that he's got great arm talent. And and I will say it again for the people in the back, I think there's a better than good chance he can win the job. But there'll be some hurt feelings if he comes here and he doesn't. So I have what
if he doesn't win the job, you're right. There's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be like, Hugh Freeze doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, right.
They're going to turn on Hugh. They will turn on Hugh.
He's not better than the guys we have, right? Like, and then they're going to crap all over the dudes we have. And I'm just not there. I think Holden has talent. I think Robbie has talent. I think TJ's out of here. Right? And then they need to bring in a guy. So they got to go out and get a guy. So at some point.
Okay, let me ask you this, Mike, sorry to cut you off, but when I saw the topic, I was like, is this a thing? Like I had pretty much thought the ship had sailed with Grayson McCall, just given some of the information that we was hearing. And now it seems, no one is reporting this from Auburn, but does it seem like things are potentially changing with his situation?
Yeah.
Like, what is giving us this optimism?
There's just some smoke around his academic situation coming together for him to be able to do it. That's what he needs. Mm-hmm. That's what the roadblock is. It's academics. It's, can he graduate and get here? And if he's available, then they'll give him a lock. Now, he signed an NIL deal with some racetrack there. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a year contract, and he's not getting. Listen, man, those contracts all have out clauses, right? You're never going to be stuck somewhere because of an NIL deal you signed.
Right.
They can choose to keep sponsoring you when you go to your other school, too. It's not tied to him staying there. Or they can terminate the deal. They can't penalize him for it either. So I don't know. I don't know how Bo signed a deal with Bojangles.
And Milo's.
Yeah, he still had reach after he left Auburn. I don't know why they would just terminate the deal after. If anything, if I'm that racetrack, he's going to a bigger, more predominant school. I might hold on to it and keep paying him. I don't know why this NIL deal people think would be an impediment to him coming here. So if you're him, you definitely bet on yourself and you make the switch.
For sure.
I think if you're him, you bet on yourself and you make the switch. But there's smoke around his academic situation right now and it coming together for him to be able to make this move. And it may not. This may be a whole big nothing burger. But if he comes here, he's going to have a better than good chance to win the job. And either way, Auburn's going to need two viable quarterbacks. And there's some sentiment that Holden still may not be ready. I wanted him to be ready so bad this spring. I think he made strides, but it's year one for Hugh Freeze, and I know he wants to hit the ground running.
For sure. And
to do that, he's got to get quarterback right. So if I were him, I would give myself as many options as possible.
Right.
Everybody's point, he didn't recruit the two guys who were likely staying.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But he has had a chance to evaluate them for a whole spring. I just think if he's the quarterback guru we were promised, he'll take one of these guys and win, or he'll go out and get a guy and win. As long as that's the best guy, people will be on board. I think it would be fun to see him develop Robbie.
I don't know if I agree with the sentiment because there's no way you can know if he's the best guy.
It's going to be a hindsight kind of deal, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like we're not going to know until we can look back at it and say, oh, yeah, he was clearly the best guy.
But I'm saying you're going to have to see all of them in action to know who was the best, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Right.
There's a high likelihood we're going to see at least two of them.
Yeah. Because football is football.
Yeah, for sure. Any thoughts, B, Ike, on this Grayson McCall situation? And do you think? Let me ask you guys this: do you think that we're potentially looking at the best option Auburn may have in this portal opening?
Well, technically, he wouldn't even be in this portal opening. He wouldn't finish until midsummer, so he just graduate and get over here.
That is true.
So, this portal opening, much like everybody on this panel surmised, outside of we got like a 0.5% chance to find an absolute stud at quarterback in the portal in the second opening. It's not likely. And even if that guy was there, nobody knows he's that guy. Nobody knows. So you're really just, you've got a couple of times where it happened and everybody's like, oh, well, maybe. Yeah, but probably not. Probably not. So what you're looking at is a guy who I've elocuted this before. I think our offense
Your
with
vocabulary game is very Stephen A. Smith tonight. I just want to say you giving us some collegiate words right now, B. Will. Continue, my guy.
I was in college before. The best case is Robbie with the time to get comfortable and the room to make mistakes so that by game 5, game 6, we're humming. That's still what I really think. However, much like Mike just said, if you have a quarterback who, number one, can be accurate, short, and intermediate, which is crucial in an RPO, which is exactly what Hugh Freeze wants to be running, then he's kind of got a head start on these guys. And again, to Mike's point, the reason why Grayson McCall would probably have a bigger head start, not only because of his experience running an RPO offense, but it's not like the playbook is set yet. It's not like, hey, I know everything Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery want to run because I ran their entire playbook last year. Nobody's run this playbook because it hasn't even existed yet. So they could finish wrapping up and like, all right, June 1st, boom, playbook's on the desk. All right, well, if Grayson McCall has already said, well, I checked my credits and I'm getting ready to come, I'm coming. They're like, here, son, boom, get that. They were talking the year before last when TJ Finley committed to Auburn after he left LSU. The word was, well, he had already silently committed. They gave him the playbook already. You don't have to be in camp to get this playbook. And you're not that far behind because if you can do the things we were trying to install, which is know when to pull, Hugh Freeze was eating TJ Finley alive just for making the wrong decision. And he had 4 weeks to get it right. Well, five weeks, but 15 practices to get it right. And he was still out there like, yeah, he should have kept it right there. I don't know what he's doing. That's not his game. Grayson McCall.
Hey, every time I have rewatched this game like 20 times right now.
That's pretty funny because he said that and went right back into the conversation.
Yo, I have to mute the dialogue because I laugh every single time. Well, that's not his game right there. I was like, yo, God, settle down, sir. Don't do that on national TV, man.
So if you can see the advantage of, well, he was here in the spring, I don't think that's as big of an advantage as we can talk about it being, because I think it was like, let me reset, see what these guys can do, reset their kind of like football history, because they were doing a lot of stuff I'm not going to ask them to do. They got to throw some stuff out mentally that they were trying to do last year. And we need to get them working on the fundamentals of the system we're trying to play. If Grayson McCall has enough experience with those fundamentals, he is just as far ahead in this race as anybody is, So that's why I think there's still value in a Grayson McCall. However, foot speed, arm size, Robbie wins. Accuracy, Grayson McCall may win.
Yeah, definitely.
Foot speed, arm size, Robbie wins. I still think the best case is Robbie long term, but I see why. If you're Hugh Freeze, you're going to go, Grayson McCall is more of a sure thing right now. Game 1, if I just give him a fall with the playbook, game 1, he's going to give me better returns than Robbie would game 1. And because that's a more sure thing, I'm going to go with him. I understand why Hugh Freeze would want to do that, but I also understand why you want both. I want both. You mean my insurance? If I start McCall, then my insurance is the guy that can run that fast. That
somebody who can do something completely different.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a bad insurance policy. And so we're clear. I don't give a fuck who's watching. I don't care. So we're clear. I don't care who's watching.
No one's watching now because
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, right? We talk about what they do on the field,
Right.
you know, and we can project all we want, but sometimes you know it's right and sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah.
If you go out there and stink it up, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
Pretty
care
simple.
what the take was before the season. Nobody's dying on a hill with a player who stunk. It's the bottom line. We've never done that on this show. So let's just leave that. I'm gonna leave that one there. But like, I don't. The takes aren't driven by anything other than you know, because we're optimistic. We've always been pro player, right? And optimistic because you want to see all these guys succeed. If they hit the field, you want to see them do well. That's it. You know, but they got to win the job. Yeah. You have to win the job, and it was an uphill battle for a lot of these guys after Hugh Freeze came in. So I don't know. You know, there was another comment in here that it was just like, you know, people are in love with this other kid, but you know, he just did it at Coastal Carolina. No experience. There's no way to know how he's going to respond in the SEC. And we still don't know what this offensive line is going to be either. So to B's point, by having another guy who can do the job and run, you might end up needing that.
Yeah.
You might end up needing that.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who starts the season. There might need to be a pivot.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like Harsin didn't realize it until like game 4. Like we need a mobile quarterback in this one. They can't pass block.
Oh, yeah. We definitely got to talk about the 2 QB system, but that's going to be in the TJ portion of this conversation.
Right. So
yeah, man.
I don't know, man. Like
man.
It's a lot about quarterback. It's a lot of talk about quarterback. The truth is that there are a lot of areas of need on this team. And you know, it'd be nice to have a quarterback that covers some of your sins. Or is it easier for them to fix everything around him so he can manage the game and you can still win games? I don't see anything wrong with having a dynamic athlete back there at quarterback. If Robbie Ashford can throw the ball on a Nick Marshall level, even he could have a great season.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing though: the short to intermediate passes that he's been inaccurate on. I mean, morale, if you can't find accuracy there, I think morale in your receiving room is going to go down quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. If you can't get the ball to these guys, it's going to be really tough. I think it's going to be really tough. So he's got to work on that this offseason, and he's got to show marked improvement quickly when they come out of summer.
And then assuming who they bring in, he's going to need that to stay in that race.
Yeah. Otherwise, the people who are saying McCall is going to be the starter from day one, he steps on campus, they're right. If you're not going to improve this summer, they're right.
Yeah. You heard that, y'all?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Right. I mean, again, where we differ is that a lot of those people who have that take think that he's not. And I'm just saying, I don't know. We'll wait to see it.
For sure. For sure.
That's not even a hot take.
And let's not forget.
That's 10 seconds in the microwave.
Robbie Ashford tweaked his shoulder. He hurt his shoulder last year, and he tweaked his shoulder in the spring. I think you need insurance, like in the worst way.
Yeah, you do.
He could be one hit shoulder while running away from. Oh crap! Now, redshirt freshman Holden Garrett, who's had 3 real snaps, none of them meaningful, is our season. And that's a scary place to be. You don't want your second string quarterback to have 0 experience. That's not a good place to be.
Right. Listen, it's not a stretch to say that Robbie's injury prone. Right. It's not a stretch to say that he's injury prone. Hurt in high school.
Yeah.
Hurt at Oregon. Hurt here. Hurt last season. Hurt in the spring. Come on, man.
I think it's been all in this. I mean, haven't they all been shoulder things though? Like, I don't think he's been hurt in other ways, and he's never had a contact injury with it. So I don't know about injury. I think it's just he hasn't. I think Robbie Ashford's problem is he doesn't know how to say, "I'm hurt. Let me get this repaired." I don't think it's been he's injury prone, honestly, because you got to think about it. None of his injuries came because somebody hit him too hard. He was trying to throw a block downfield and shouldn't have been doing that. And he re-injured a thing that he was already had a problem with. Robbie's problem is that he needs to take a minute and just let the thing heal, and he won't do that.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I thought it was a knee in high school. Was it a knee in high school?
I mean, his high school thing might have been a knee. I don't know what his high school issues were.
Yeah, I mean, he went to Oregon,
but he missed a significant part of his senior year in high school for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, listen, you need a backup plan.
Yeah,
you need a backup plan.
For sure.
If he keeps hurting the same thing, then he's injury prone in that area. I don't know. I just know they keep pulling him because he's injured.
Yeah.
So have a backup.
All right, guys, let's transition this. Before we do that, let's grab these comments and then we will get to the drawing. Oda Smiths comes back and says, regarding Grayson McCall and why he has so much swag, watch the highlights, baby. That's all he's saying. Oda is bought in and is feeling them. Regarding
I'm not gonna judge anybody's swag off of their high moments. How do you look when you're not doing so well? Then you tell me what the swagger looks like. You know why Cam Newton has an immense amount of swag? They was getting curb stomped in 2 different games, and during halftime, he was in there as confident as he could be that we were going to come back out and win both of them, and then went out and led them to win both of those games. That's swag to me. You celebrating when you're up, that's not swag. That's being a front runner. So if you can show me clips of Grayson McCall losing games and willing team, Johnny Manziel, for whatever people do, Johnny Manziel has swag, bro.
Yeah.
He was going out there. Tim Tebow, swagger, willing teams to victories while getting stomped.
Yeah.
Show me that guy. That's different, bro.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of energy to say, I know we're losing right now, but I got y'all.
Yeah.
And then
show me that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not saying Grayson's not him, but I'm not going to look at his highlights to determine it.
Right.
Okay. Oda is though, so there's that.
Well, no, but he was telling me to go look at it to go find that, and I was like, well, that's not going to prove it to me. It's going to look nice on his highlight reel. Cool.
We the people asked. We asked, hey, is he an automatic QB1? If he touches down on Auburn's campus? Corey Weber says yes. Daniel Moultrie says no. Robbie's in the thick of it. Okay, there's a no there. Anthony Grant, yes. Philip Coleman says a mullet isn't swag in my eyes.
Hey, listen, that's one man's feelings about a mullet.
Hey, yeah, exactly. A hot dog water says automatic, no, but damn near in my opinion.
Yeah. Listen, man, he's got arm talent for sure, right? But I think it's just more. It's more than that.
That's the Hugh Freeze offense, though. That's a big part of it. And he's mobile enough to run the RPO. Again, if you get him on campus, you gotta. I think it changes the feel of the offense, and who knows what it does for the coaching staff. Bug Mac says, "Don't trust anybody with a mullet." Okay, I guess you don't trust Grayson then,
or a fanny pack. And if they have both, Unabomber vibes run.
That's what I was thinking Stranger Things, but I understand.
Yeah. Fanny pack and a mullet. Oof.
Corey Weber says, let's be real. Freeze wouldn't bring Grayson in without the expectation he would start.
I think that's fair.
Wait a minute. Who without whose expectation? Are you saying Freeze would expect Grayson to start if he brought him in? Or you're saying Grayson wouldn't come here unless he was given the expectation he would start?
I think both, honestly.
Okay.
I think both.
I think both too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Grayson one is easy. You're definitely not coming here for what's probably your last year of football if you don't think you're going to start.
Right.
Or there's not an expectation that you're going to start. But on Freeze's end, man, listen, whoever starts, hopefully they make it to the end of the season. If they don't, and it's not the right decision, I hope that Auburn has a coach that will get out of that decision quickly and not let the season die because you made a bad decision or you picked wrong either way. So I'm interested to see what this offensive line is going to be. And I think that will drive a lot of discussion 2 or 3 games into the season.
James Barnett, appreciate the super chat. He says, I know some people are going to take this wrong, but doesn't SEC defenses play a part in whatever QB comes in that hasn't played against SEC defenses? Example, Oregon against Georgia. Just a question.
Yeah, in league experience, I think is definitely not something to be scoffed at and just discarded. You know, this other dude's been playing in the coast, whatever conference they're in.
Conference USA.
Conference
USA?
Sun Belt?
Sun Belt or one of them. Sun Belt.
Yeah, Sun Belt. Yeah. I mean, so, I mean, having gone up against, you know, some of the best defensive minds in the country as a player is I think it's a good thing. I think that's an edge. I think our iron sharpens iron. And it doesn't mean you can't come from outside the conference and tear it up.
Yes, right.
You absolutely can. But I think it helps.
And Hooker.
Right. Yeah, I think it helps.
You
know,
ACC though.
Ike and I had this conversation about
what conference again?
But ACC versus the Sun Belt, I'd still ACC that league.
Yeah.
Wait,
right.
I think the ACC lost a couple games to the Sun Belt last season. I have to go back and check.
Arkansas lost to Liberty.
Good point. I don't even remember what my point was no more. But I know the ACC ain't that good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
well,
they have better athletes by and large versus the Sun Belt. Is my point.
Okay, I give you.
Yeah, well, we have a conversation about the pack, and half the quarterbacks in that league put up crazy numbers, all pack numbers. They were going nuts over there. So, you know, I wouldn't be super confident about any quarterback coming out of that league based on how they were playing pass defense. Good for Caleb Williams. He won a Heisman. I don't think he would have won that Heisman if he had played in the SEC last year.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think. I mean, he was the quarterback of LSU last year. I don't think he wins the Heisman. Maybe he has.
So if he comes to Auburn, like everybody said that he was going to when he was on campus down here, getting Waffle House with some of the staff, he wasn't going to win the Heisman. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, he was not going to win that. Nobody was winning the Heisman here last year. So, yeah, I'm just saying it's tougher here. Life is tough down here in the South. I know because I'm here now. So, I'm experienced in this.
To that as well. There's also a lot of that. Whatever.
Gas station chicken everywhere.
Oh, you missed that being up there. You didn't see that.
No,
you got some of that gas station sushi yet?
No, that sounds
don't do
awful.
Yeah, don't do it.
That sounds like
don't do it.
Actually, one of the best sushi spots I've ever been to was right next to a gas station. It was really good.
It was gas station adjacent.
Was like the attendant putting it out?
No.
Okay, because that's what I'm talking about.
No, it was actually a sushi restaurant, but it was in the
now listen,
hot dog, pizza, sushi.
Yeah, all right. Now listen, I'll smash me some sushi from Bucky's. Whatever they make in that place, I'll give it a shot.
Oh man,
that thing is amazing.
Does Bucky's have sushi? I'd be very disappointed if Bucky's has sushi.
Bucky's has everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and I wouldn't even blink my eye at it.
Sushi?
Bro, you can get
Bucky's ain't just.
You can get a replacement social security card.
I've been to Bucky's. I've been to it multiple times. I love the
everything
brisket.
there.
Really good brisket.
The brisket sandwich is amazing. It's life changing.
Yeah,
that sandwich is sexual and violent. It's amazing. Yeah. And I was walking around with my camera, and I was like, "What, ma'am? What makes Bucky's a great establishment?" And they were like, "It's a service, and it's this and that." I was just like, "Man, this place is amazing." I even brought my dog back a little Bucky to chew on. She loves it. So, yeah, Bucky sushi.
Man, we needed a sponsor in that moment. All right, Cleveland Brown says, "I'm sure I'm late about TJ's feelings on Rock." Oh no, you're just in time, late, Cleveland. Yeah, you're just in time for that. But first, hang on, Cleveland. We're gonna address this. We giving away something, guys.
Yup.
Maybe a prelude to what we're about to talk about. He gone. Courtesy of War Eagle Oil. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Ike ain't playing with y'all. Take it away, sir.
Let's do it. 78 people decided they might want a t-shirt. Who is going to get it? Sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Today's shirt winner is Daniel Moultrie.
Let us know if you're here, sir. Let us know if you are here. We'll be looking out for you. Speaking of TJ.
Yeah.
TJ had an interview recently. He went on Locked On SEC and made some, hold that phone, Daniel's here, Daniel, what we need you to do, sir, email us business@thewar-rapport. We need your physical address and shirt size. If you don't want us medium, send us your shirt size, physical address, and that He Gone t-shirt will be coming your way. Congratulations, my good sir. Real quick, TJ Finley was on and made some interesting comments about his time at Auburn. He was asked about just the emotions of last season, the highs and lows, mostly lows. And he led in talking about how the previous coaching staff brought in Robbie Ashford and Zach Calzada, and how to him, he viewed it as a slap in the face. Guys who were close to him in age to compete for the job. He even went on, when asked about his intentions for the future, didn't really say, but he did say that his heart was in Auburn. He wants to be in Auburn, but everything pretty much is up in the air. Some quotes here. Competition is not the problem. If he leaves, it will be because of another school has a better opportunity for him and his family. Paraphrasing here. Mike, I'm going to start with you first. Thoughts on this, sir? I know you already kind of said what you think is going to happen with TJ, but thoughts on what he said?
Well, again, if he feels like it was a slap in the face and maybe he felt like it was more of a slap in the face from the last staff because they brought him in.
Right.
So it may not be as much of a slap in the face from Hugh Freeze if Hugh Freeze brings somebody in. But I think this is a really simple discussion, right? He's got 1 year left to play, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
He's got to play. He's got to go somewhere he can play. And he's got one transfer, another freebie transfer coming up if he graduates. He's got to go somewhere where he can get on the field. So between now and the time the portal closes, at the what is it, at the 30th, Mike?
Yes.
The 30th of April? Yeah.
It's the 30th.
He's got a decision to make about whether he feels like that's going to be here or not. What he's not going to do is waste another year at some place where they're not going to start him.
Which is the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. So, his comments, I don't know about slapping the face.
I thought that part was silly.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, every coach is bringing in new talent, because, nobody wishes injury on anybody, but people get hurt. Brian Harson's first year, if they had a viable third string, that guy would have played by the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's why they brought him in. I think they had a reasonable suspicion that Bo was going to be it going into the season. But he didn't last the whole season, and you needed a guy that could come in and win some games. Now, that didn't happen because they didn't do anything but lose down the stretch. But, I don't know. The only thing that I thought that he said that, I would raise an eyebrow to was that it is a slap in the face for a coach to bring in more talent.
Yeah.
No coach is not going to bring in more talent. None, zero.
Right.
And I doubt he would have made that comment about Saban or Kirby or any of the other coaches with championship pedigrees. So, or maybe he would have. Like, I don't think it was. TJ usually gives really good interviews, but of all the things I've ever heard him say, that's probably the statement I like the least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Coach is going to bring in talent, man. Right. Hold the line, dude. Hold the line and just say, listen, man, I'm going to compete, or I'm going to I think people get his situation. If he's going to leave, it's going to be because he needs to get something. The discussion we were having about getting something on tape. He's got to get something on tape. And what he's put on tape to date is not enough.
Right.
No.
Right.
So go somewhere and get something on tape. I don't care where it is. So if you don't think it's going to be here, you got to go somewhere. That's really all I got to say about it. Like, he's got to do what's best for him. And I think the writing is on the wall for a lot of players, not just the quarterbacks. So you're going to see other people making the same decision that TJ's making. They went out. You think Jarquez Hunter is offended that they brought in Bucky? You think he thinks that's a slap in the face? You know, now Jarquez is in a more secure position, sure. But they didn't bring Bucky in to sit him either. They're going to try to slot a role for him. And if he's good enough, he's going to play. All you can do is go out there and make sure that you continue to earn your slice of the pie. And I think that with not just TJ, with all these quarterbacks that are currently on the roster, none of them have done enough to warrant that kind of security from the coach.
Right.
Auburn has not had a quarterback, you know, in the last few years, I think that's done enough to warrant that kind of job security. Don't bring in a guy. No way, dude. Of course they're going to bring in a guy. They don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, based upon what you've done already, I don't have any guarantees of what you're going to do in the future.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
and even if you did know, you would still be crazy not to bring in talent.
Yeah, I mean that statement. I'm just not sure where his mind was at with that statement. But I would just say I don't think anybody's begrudging him for doing what's best for him. Right? Because he wasn't recruited by the staff. And he may not even believe in their vision. We don't know. But you got to go someplace where they're going to put you on the field. That's for sure, certain.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And you know, if you only got 1 year left, the same way McCall only has 1 year left. As a graduate transfer, you got to go someplace where you're going to play. It would be a disaster for McCall to transfer here and lose the job to Robbie. That would be an absolute disaster for him, because if he stays where he's at the very least, we know he'll get more tape.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he can come here and prove it against some of the best athletes that, you know, he's going to compete against at the next level, given how many guys the SEC puts into the NFL, good for him. So, I mean, it's all a calculated risk for these guys. And I don't envy the position that they're in, because, you know, when you decide to commit to a school, you have to really, really believe that the person that you're committing to is going to honor their word and that you're going to get every opportunity. And then you still have to do your part. I brought you in. If you do well, I look good. Nobody that brings you in listen, or if there's a chance, man, I think the coaches would rather it been like, oh, man, you know, our quarterback room was this good.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, you know, TJ, I think that based on the sentiment that, you know, a lot of these guys, and it's not just TJ, are not huge guys. They all have a decision to make. I would not be surprised if Robbie is sitting around trying to do the same math in his head too.
Right. Exactly.
And Holden. Do we want to stay here? You know, because they're hyping this Walker White kid.
Yeah.
All right. You know, and they're telling me, and every time I turn on, my coach is saying we ain't got no talent. What do? Do I stay here with somebody who thinks I may not be good enough? Or let him roll with this dude and then go someplace else and prove it? So, I mean, I thought because of the time is running out, TJ is the most likely to leave. But I'm telling you, all three of those guys are doing the same math in their head right now.
Right.
They're all doing the same math.
Yeah, and a lot of it will have to do with how much eligibility the next guy has, right? Like if it's a McCall type where they only have a year, then Holden and Robbie may have a little more patience because they know, okay, I only have to sit this 1 year if that, right? But if it's a 2-3 year eligibility guy, you got Walker Wright coming in, you still got, I mean, I don't know how well Hank Brown is going to, but Hugh Freeze recruited him at Liberty, obviously thinks he can play quarterback if he wants him to come over here. Right. If we're so convinced that Hugh is not going to bring anybody in who can't compete at an SEC level, why would he offer a scholarship to Hank Brown at Auburn? Right. Why let him stay at Liberty? Even if he wants to come over, like, I just don't understand that. So you got Hank Brown coming in the fall. You've got Walker White set to come in next year. And if you bring in a guy who's got 2 years of eligibility, there's quite literally no reason, if your name is Holden Garriner or Robbie Ashford, to feel like you should stay at Auburn.
Right.
When do you play?
Yeah.
The time is now.
Yeah.
Like
I said, yeah,
if you're going to play at Auburn, the time is now.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about TJ, but I'm telling you, the other two guys are doing the same math TJ is right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see.
All right. Anything else on this, guys?
No, I mean, I listen. He's right about the 2 QB system being. I won't say unfair, but it definitely. I don't think it was fair for either of those young men.
No,
it wasn't.
Here's the thing: TJ, in hindsight, is saying that because before, when he thought he had the starting job locked up, he was kind of joking about, oh, we'll have some packages in there for Robbie type of thing. But when it became apparent that Robbie was getting more than just a couple of sub packages and he was like making a push for the starting job, that's when TJ's discontent started, right? But yeah, the slap in the face stuff is dumb because otherwise you were a slap in the face to Bo Nix, right? Like if you're bringing somebody in, that's not a slap in the face to
Yeah,
you. Just
that's
go
right.
win the job.
That's exactly right. Now, I'm not sure that Bo saw it as a slap in the face that they brought TJ in,
because he thought he could beat him. So it's like, all right, cool, bring it in, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So like, I don't know why he should feel that way. Like, again, but that's the only thing he really said I had a problem with.
Yeah.
But
right.
but again, it is a bit of a, in my opinion, it's a bit of a contradiction because if competition isn't the problem, you should never feel like it's a slap in the face who they bring in. Oh, y'all bringing them in? All right, well, I'm still winning. I mean, if that's your attitude about competition, then it shouldn't matter who they bring in.
I'd be worried if I don't have it sewn up for sure.
Correct.
I'd be worried.
But that's the thing. But of course he's not going to say that.
Well,
it's what he said. So yeah, you would be worried if you're not quite sure where you stand with this coaching staff and how things are. Yeah, anyone who they bring in would affect your decision as to where you want to proceed with this team. So
yeah.
Good talk, gentlemen.
So, but before we go, Robbie is definitely going to start over Grayson. Morons. Anyway,
you know what? I'm gonna grab some popcorn, and
I'm actually just going to clip that one part of you saying that and put it out on social.
Put it on
media.
Twitter.
Yeah,
put it on Twitter.
That's it. That's how I'm gonna clip those like 8 seconds.
With the mind blown emoji. No, I'm gonna go back to. They're gonna
see my hand going like this. See, he meant it. He did this. He was being serious. That definitely was a joke. Nobody who does this is telling a joke.
I tell the folks what they need to be doing, sir.
Join is what you need to do. Come on board with the War Report, man. Got some great content coming for you guys tomorrow. Some film. We will be exhaustive in our look at A-Day film and really trying to get into the details of some of this stuff. Hopefully you guys come and hang out with me tomorrow. If you're a member, keep your notifications on so you know when I'm going live with that. If you're a member and you want to gift memberships, you can do that right now from the live chat. We appreciate those of you who continue to do this. Got some new people that have come on board as members recently on your own, but thank you for those who gift memberships to those. If you didn't get a chance to win something today, thewarreport.com is where you can go and purchase your own merch. Got some great merch coming up for you guys for the summer. Yeah, I'm teasing new merch coming this summer, baby. We're getting into it. So be on the lookout for that. And if you like listening to audio versions of content, we have that at the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report, and some audio only content that you can only hear at the Auburn Express. Yeah.
Ben Bloodworth, my apologies for missing that super chat. I will always be thankful to TJ for saving us from the Georgia State loss. Mm-hmm. That is his legacy. Cleveland Brown says, glad I came in at the right time. Great info. War Eagle back at you. Thanks for hanging out with us, Cleveland. Thanks for everyone else who's been watching. Before you get out of here, guys, it really matters to us when you do this. Share this video, guys. Share it on social media. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, please share it. Also, guys, smash the like button on this video. It helps us out a lot. Get the likes up, thumbs up. Please do that. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at The War Report. We're also on TikTok at TW Report. That's it for now, guys, but we will definitely catch you. Ike's going to be dropping some film review stuff tomorrow, and we'll be back with the morning drop on Friday. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.